The long-awaited patch is finally here, and today, I'm going to dive into all the known changes, what they mean for the game, and if I personally enjoy them. Sorry if I sound exhausted, I just got done with the hardest bingo game ever and it's like 11 PM at night. First off, let's start with the changes that we knew we were getting because they were present in the console release. Rapid fire, let's do this. Slightly new Lazarus sprite. The starting room now showing the character that you're playing as. We finally got our black markets back. Some new enemy sprites like Dookie, Blue Boil, and the Thing. Converter now has a 3-room charge to prevent the free win synergies you see on Tainted Judas and Tainted Bethany. Holy Mantle shields were rebuffed to have twice the iframes, now having a full 1 second of invincibility as opposed to the half second before. Rocket bombs now only shoot when you're shooting and not when you're moving, a much needed change honestly. Tainted Eden no longer gets rerolled from self-damaging items or cursed rooms. This also includes sacrifice rooms. Tainted Cain's recipes are now randomized per seed. We finally got Tammy's head back in the treasure room item pool. Limigatan is no longer guaranteed to spawn items in the pool that you're standing in. While it does favor that pool, it is not guaranteed. Satanic Bible boss items now give devil precedence. Clickering into Tainted Isaac no longer crashes your game. You can now pick up hearts as Ghost Form Tainted Jacob. Tainted Eve's character page now reads Clot Summoner. All Megamush soft locks are gone. And finally, the Matriarch no longer drops 1,000,000 hearts when it dies. Now these are all very positive changes, but this patch list is huge. It's a culmination of like months and months of waiting. So I'm only going to focus on the stuff that is mechanically different. Starting with some item changes and the addition of 3 new items, all which spawn from the boss and golden chest pool. For new items, we have Glass Eye, which is a 0.75 damage up and a +1 luck upgrade, a really cool combination of stats. Sty, which is pretty much a blood clot for your other eye. And Mom's Ring, which is another damage up, but it also drops a rune or a soul stone upon picking it up. For changed items, we have C-Section, which now shoots out a bunch of mini ghosts from your stomach, which makes for some pretty sick synergies. One of the biggest changes is that now we can find the items Flip, Bag of Crafting, and Sumptorium as any other character once unlocked. And as a side note, Flip only really functions as a sort of 1-item reroll in item rooms instead of changing you to a separate character. Next up we have the character changes, and strap in, this is a pretty long one. First off, we have added new birthright effects for every character, which includes Maggie, who gets an HP up, but now has the ability to have 18 heart containers. Cain, who gets a luck up plus better arcades, with a chance of tons of machines to spawn inside of them. Judas, whose Book of Belial now functions as a sort of Book of Virtues. It becomes a passive, and then scales damage with the amount of your charges that your primary active has. So if a 3 charge is a 3 damage up, a 6 charge would be a 6 damage up. Lilith now holds all of her familiars in front of her character, allowing her to shoot almost essentially like a normal character. And Keeper gains 1 HP up. Cool. Apollion's allows Void to place down previously sucked up items when used, kind of like a moving box, but you get to keep the raw stats from those items. Think of it like a Void plus Endless Nameless. Tainted Judas. He's supposed to have double the length of Dark Arts, but it is currently bugged and not working properly. Tainted Eve's red clots now drop blinking red hearts upon death. Tainted Laz's birthright turns you almost into like a Jacob and Esau thing, but the Esau counterpart is immune to all damage. Pretty neat. With B-side Lilith, every familiar now acts like Jello. With Tainted Apollyon, flies will now stay on enemies while you're firing, allowing for huge damage stacks. And Tainted Bethany's now spawns 4 high-quality wisps with a lot more HP than usual. But you'll never guess this one. Tainted Jacobs spawns a second Dark Esau. Yup. Luckily, those are some of the more tedious changes to get through. Let's keep rapid firing through this and see what other game-changing character things we may find. The Lost now has visible HP on your HUD, along with a new icon showing whether or not Holy Mantle is active in your given room, and yes, this works on every character. Tainted Azazel got a little bit of a nerf, the most notable one being he now has a reduced beam duration unless you find the actual Brimstone. But on the other side of that, sneezing is now automatically done when charging, making the character feel a lot more fluid. And now when you hit an enemy with your sneeze, your remaining charge time is cut in half. Cool. But by far, the coolest new buff is a new effect called Brimstone's Curse, which makes enemies who have been sneezed upon more susceptible to Brimstone-based attacks. And it also causes them to explode when being killed, which is pretty crazy. Tainted Eve also got a buff, where if you recall more clots than you have hearts, the excess clots now turn into HP on the ground so nothing is wasted. Her clots also now start with a total of 15 HP each. For red clots, it decays down to 1 HP over time very slowly. Any other hearts can only go down to 5. Items that spawn as part of room layouts like shops or item rooms now have a flipped variant when encountered while holding flip, allowing for much easier Tainted Lazarus runs. Tainted Eden no longer rerolls on fatal damage, allowing for the use of respawn items like 9 lives or 1 up. Tainted Cain is finally a fun character again because his recipes are mostly randomized per the seed that you're playing on. Take that, Platinum God users. Now there are some set recipes, but we're unaware of what they are at the moment. Also a fun change, when you craft an item that will result in a breakfast, it now just crafts a random item. Sweet. Tainted Lilith's Fetus now auto-aims on enemies, making an already fun character even more enjoyable. And Tainted Jacob finally got what might be one of his biggest buffs, allowing him to pick up hearts in his ghost form, much like the mirror lost in Downpour. Aside from that, Dark Esau also got some buffs? For example, he now ignores boss armor, making him do insanely high damage, and he also is now invulnerable, meaning you will not accidentally kill him anymore. Pretty nice change. That's about it for important character changes, so now I'm going to look at some of the more interesting changes made to the core game. This includes donation machines now blow up for good when you bomb them, meaning it's a one-run use. Any subsequent machines are non-existent. Personally, I hate this change. The amount of times these machines have saved my runs is uncountable. It also devalues keeping it at a very high number, meaning once you unlock Stopwatch, there really isn't a solid reason to ever donate again, outside of angel chances increasing and luck upgrades, but whatever. We have restock machines back now, so that's pretty pog. You can now take red heart, blue heart mixed deals while only having 1 heart, finally. You can also take free devil deals when under the Lost's curse. For example, Soul of Lost or Downpour Fire, adding some extra reward for running alt path. IBS is a bit more manageable, being treated almost like a charge shot now, which is a much needed change. And when encountering paid angel deals, they now have the chance to cost up to 30 cents. Thanks, God. We got a pretty big Ghost Pepper nerf, where it only shoots out half the time at max luck to prevent lost perfection cheese. And Converter is now a 3-room charge because we hate fun. Pop tiers are now made to prevent crashes by falling to the ground after only about 8 bounces. God bless. Dark Arch now only gives damage ups to Tainted Judas and Dark Judas, and the damage also decays a bit faster now. Metronome can no longer trigger R-key or clicker, but for some reason it can still activate Death Cert. Singe got nerfed boss rooms, thank God, and Hush actually follows the laws of physics now. Would you look at that? You can now pick up and throw Cube Baby with Mom's Bracelet, and Sci-Fly got the slightest slap on the wrist for being strong enough to challenge God. The game now tracks and accounts for heart container overflow to prevent unfair loss of HP, which is honestly one of my favorite changes so far. I knew grabbing those extra 80 breakfasts was good for something. Tammy's head is back in the item room pool, and Ultra Secret Rooms now have their own separate pools instead of just being angel pools. The tainted variant of respawn characters such as Judas, Blue Baby, and Lazarus now respawn as their tainted counterparts when an item is used by them. For example, Tainted Judas stays as Tainted Judas when respawned with Judas's shadow. And by the looks of it, they literally patched out what looks to be like every single fucking crash in any video game ever. Oh my god, Kilburn and Leather Ice Cream, I love you. Overall, to me, this is a 10 out of 10 patch, minus that weird donation machine thing. Okay, I'm gonna sleep now. Like the video, comment your favorite kind of cheese, and wish me good night. See ya.